Hello? Ah, there you are. Thank you so much for that warm greeting. And yes, I'm Jim Meskimen, and I'm an impressionist. I'm glad to follow Robert Greene, who talks about language. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit. It has something to do with language. It's how people express themselves, how we get to know them. And it's rather amusing, I hope. And the quickest way that I've discovered to get into it is by doing something I call the celebrity alphabet. A is for Arnold, of Austrian birth, who pumped up his ambition for all it was worth. B is for Antonio Banderas, who has Spanish roots. Es muy macho, pero también Puss in Boots. C es for el buen actor, el querido Cantinflas. Si yo podía hablar con rápido como él, te gustaría decirte más. C is also for George Clooney. I'm not sure who he's dating, but whoever she is, she's probably ovulating. Gracias. D is for Robert De Niro. New York City is his town. He talks like this because he's got his mouth upside down. E is for Eastwood, great director and actor. It looks like he could bite the tires off a tractor. F is for someone who's never angry or vehement. It's reserved with respect for the great Morgan Freeman. G is for Alec Guinness from across the pond, whom Star Wars fans know solely as Obi-Wan. H is for Ron Howard, who's so good that it's scary. Will he ever break free of his roots from Mayberry? I is for Julio Iglesias, who's still not quite sure. Do you hear those voices? I'm not alone. It's Julio Iglesias, who's still not quite sure the exact number of all the girls he's loved before. J is for Jack Nicholson, the star with an attitude, for which he has earned all impressionists' gratitude. K is for Kevin Spacey, a guy who the term warm and fuzzy will never apply to.
L is for Lindsay Lohan, who still gets role offers. I can't do her voice, so that's her parole officers. Oh, yeah.
M is for Malkovich, who, when he's enraged, has the best diction of any since Geraldine Page. N is for Liam Neeson, the Schindler's List star, who's still owed an Oscar for playing Oscar. O is for Obama, whose voice is unique. And I bet he's relieved he doesn't have to move out this week. P is for Peter O'Toole, who's one of those guys whose liver should be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Q is for Quentin Tarantino, okay, whose films totally rule. I mean, can anything beat Kill Bill 1 and Part 2? A, or R, actually. R is for Andres Romer, who I can safely say, if not for him, none of us would be here right today. S. S is for Sting, who once sang to
Roxanne.
and then garnered more fame as an ex-policeman. T is for Tommy Lee Jones, whom we know ran out of patience a long, long time ago. V, no, there's U that goes there. I'm still learning the alphabet. It's a very useful thing. U is for Unger, the great Tony Randall, to whom sitcom stars now can't hold an unscented candle. V is for Vincent Price, whose spooky demeanor was less of a monster and more old antique dealer. W is for W, former White House resident. Who used to be known as President of the United States. X is for Xavier of the X-Men film saga. Patrick Stewart portrayed the non-magnetic doctor. Y is for Yusuf. Cat Stevens was his name, till he turned his back on materialist fame. Z is for the end, where everything halts, including our closer, the great Christoph Waltz. Thank you very much. That's your A to Z. Well, I just like the voice. I grew up, I don't do drugs, by the way. I do impressions. That's how I solve my problems. And I grew up in an acting family, so it was kind of typical for us to do voices. I also, like Robert, I listen to accents. I listen to voices. You know, I collect personalities and stuff. It's fun for me. I'm like Facebook. You know, I collect these things, all this data. And so, you know, I like the voice a lot. And I notice in our current culture, the voice is a little bit of an endangered piece of apparatus. We're not talking one-on-one too much anymore. The human voice, indeed, is going into a little bit of a decline as we seek to digitize all experience, you know, that's a long discussion and probably best left to texting. But, so for me, I appreciate the voice. It's a sample, it's a symbol of people. You know, it's not totally the body, it's not totally the face, it's whatever the individual is. And so we get a flavor of that individual, and we all have voices in our head, people we love, you know, the way they laugh, the way they sound. So I've got one more fun thing that I think you'll like. I have a one-man show that I do, which is, you know, about an hour of this sort of stuff, and I want to do a segment of that, and it involves Shakespeare. And I'll need also, I have a volunteer all lined up. Christina, there's my list. And if Christina could come out, or Andres is going to... Christina. Big hand for Christina.
Les quiero presentar. Cristina es la directora de un proyecto muy importante en Estados Unidos de debatir ideas. Cristina Hamilton, que va a apoyar hoy allí. Bienvenida, Cristina.
Thank you, Andres.
Come closer so that
okay,
you can...
I know I'm sort of wrecking up the stand in between the
that looks good
words
right
here.
there. Right there.
Okay.
Perfecto. Okay, I'm going to do a speech from Richard III by William Shakespeare. Clarence's Dream from Richard III. And when I... Give me one to get started with, a celebrity to get started with.
Antonio Banderas.
Okay, we'll hear from him again. And when I go like this with my hand, just give me the next one and we'll see how all these different celebrities might deliver this Shakespearean speech. We haven't worked this out ahead of time, it's all completely random. Antonio Banderas first. Methought that I had broken from the tower and was embarked across to Burgundy, and in my company my brother Gloucester,
George Clooney,
who, from my cabin, tempted me to walk upon the hatches.
Clint Eastwood.
Hence we looked toward England and conjured up 1,000 heavy times during the wars of York and Lancaster that had befallen us.
Peter Lorre.
As we walked along, upon the giddy footing of the hatches, methought that Gloucester stumbled and in falling struck me, who thought to stay him overboard.
Jimmy Stewart.
Into the thundering billows of the main. Lord, methought what pain it was to drown.
Sylvester Stallone.
With dreadful noise of water in my ear. With sights of ugly death within my eyes.
Ricardo Montalban.
Methought I saw 1,000 fearful wrecks, 10,000 men which fishes gnawed upon.
Boris Karloff.
Wedges of gold, great anchors, heaps of pearl, inestimable stones, unvalued jewels, all scattered in the bottom of the sea.
Joe Pesci.
Some lay in dead men's skulls. And in those holes where eyes did once inhabit, there were crept as if in scorn of eyes, reflecting gems, which wooed the slimy bottom of the deep, and mocked the dead bones that lay scattered by.
Sean Connery.
Awoke me not with such sore agony, no, no. My dream was lengthened after life.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, then began the tempest to my soul. Methought I crossed... the melancholy flood. That's it.
Martin Scorsese.
Which poets write of into the kingdom of perpetual night. There, the first that to greet my stranger soul was my great father-in-law, the great Warwick, who cried, "What scourge for perjury can this dark monarchy afford false clarence?"
Michael Moore.
Then came wandering by a shadow like an angel, with bright hair, dabbled in blood, who cried,
Ian McKellen.
Clarence is come. False, fleeting, perjured Clarence that stabbed me in the field by Tewkesbury.
Robin Williams.
"Seize on him, Furies. Take him into torment." With that methought a legion of foul fiends environed me and howled in mine ears such hideous cries that with the very noise I trembling waked.
Woody Allen.
And,
Off list notice.
for a season after, could not but believe that I was in hell. So, such terrible impression made my dream. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Thank you. It's been an honor to perform for you. Thank you so much.